We are looking at adolescent development in this module. We're really looking at that time when children enter puberty, that transition to high school, and then the transition from high school to becoming a young adult. When we're looking at occupational performance issues in adolescence, a lot of what OTs and physios will be asked to focus on will certainly be in the transition to high school. It's going to be accessing the physical environment. Students are now required to, go to the cafeteria, be able to access multiple classrooms. They also have to manage having 4 different teachers because they're in semesters. And so a lot of that communication and collaboration happens with the resource teacher because that is going to be the consistent person that the student works with from grade 9 through to graduation. Any student with a special need can actually stay in school until the year that they turn 21. So some of our high school students are in high school for quite some time. So we'll be looking at access issues, navigating the physical environment, transitioning from one class to another. So sometimes they need support to do that, and we might also look at if they have a class in a portable. Sometimes I've had to become involved to get a ramp for some of our students in wheelchairs or students that use walkers. We would certainly be looking at fine motor skills. So whether or not that's written output, access to technology, a lot of times we're involved in assisting with communication devices, so speech output devices or accessing software so that they can access a curriculum. But we might also be involved in students might have cooking classes, food and nutrition, so we could look at adaptive utensils. We could also be involved in some grooming, self-care skills. A lot of our students in life skills classes, so these are students that have fairly significant cognitive delay. Students that are in life skills classes in high school tend to have an intellectual level. They're operating at about a kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2 level. And so we would be looking at IADLs. We would be looking at things like riding the bus and how they can use money. So they might be given money to pay to ride the bus. A lot of our students will go and do some co-op placements, or they might be going to, like our life skills students will go do some cleaning at Leon's, or they might go to the bowling alley and do some organizing of the shoes. And this class that I work with in Collingwood also will go to grocery shop every week. So they make a grocery list, they go and they actually purchase the groceries, and then they go back to class and they cook. They prepare meals and they cook meals. They also prepare meals for all of the other students in the high school. If they don't have enough in their lunch that day, they can go visit the life skills class and have a snack. So they'll make pasta and make wraps and mini pizzas on English muffins, a whole bunch of those things. So I'm often involved with those kind of fine motor and IADL skills. We also might be asked to look at assisting students to access the workplace, whether it's a co-op placement or kind of moving forward from high school into entering the workforce. So I've certainly helped a student to make sure that his co-op placement at a radio station was accessible, and I also helped just to make sure that he was going to be able to access a job that he was looking at to work at a movie theater in our community. So we could be looking at community mobility. We could be looking at assisting with any kind of extracurricular activities. So a lot of my students, I've actually met them at the Y, and we've set up exercise programs. The physio and I have done that together just to make sure that they're able to use the equipment at the gym by themselves. And we've kind of adapted a program for them so that they can work out and exercise with their friends. We've also, looked at linking kids up with a lot of community sports. So I've helped to get a sit ski for a student so that he could participate in the outdoor ed program. So he could go skiing at Blue Mountain, or they can also use sit skis for cross-country skiing. There's sledge hockey, there's swimming, there's lots of community extracurricular activities and sports that our students will participate in, so we can assist with that. Physios for sure will be looking at a modifying or adapting a gym program, so that's certainly something that you might be involved in assisting with. And then we do have the self-regulation goal, but in high school we really try to make it more age appropriate. And so we might look at how they access a sports team, or we might actually set up an exercise program for them in the gym at school. So most schools, will have exercise equipment in the gym. They'll have a workout room, and so we've gone in and we've done some programming there in terms of modifying or adapting exercises in the high school, and trying to get that self-regulation that's much more age appropriate. So it might even just be asking for a break from the classroom, and then we would suggest that they walk down the hall and they go upstairs and they go down the hall and then back down the stairs to class. So we might come up with a route that they use through that high school to get lots of nice, vestibular and proprioceptive input in an age-appropriate way. We certainly do have sensory rooms in high schools as well. So there might be swings, and there will be steam rollers, and there will be exercise balls. And so some of our high schools do have sensory rooms and snoozling rooms as well. And then another thing that we would be involved in is graduation. So we would be looking at how that student's going to access a stage. I had 2 students in 1 year where their goal was to actually walk across the stage to graduate. Now, both of these boys had cerebral palsy. One of them was in a wheelchair, and the other one was using a walker. And so they set a goal for themselves to be able to independently walk across the stage. So it was pretty amazing to see, because they worked on that for about 2 years, and the physio and I were involved, and the OTAPTA was involved in building up their strength and endurance and their walking skills. So there was not a dry eye in the house, I can guarantee you. On that graduation night, I was actually there and was privileged enough to watch those boys walk across stage. So it was pretty amazing. But that being said, when we're talking about working with teenagers, we really have to be aware of the fact that up until 18, we still need parental consent to address any goals. But you're now working with young adults who have a strong kind of sense of their own will, and they want to make their own decisions. And so we really do need to involve the client, the teenager, as much as possible in the decision-making process and the goal-setting process. If it had been the parents' idea for those boys to walk across the stage, I don't think we would have had the same kind of buy-in and motivation that's required, and the dedication that was required for them to be able to do that. It was because the goal came from them, obviously with the support of their parents, that we had such great success. So that is something to be aware of. You're going to have to look at different ways to kind of motivate them to work with you. We certainly we deal with, drama and emotions and behaviors and, students that aren't necessarily thrilled to see us. Certainly, I worked with a boy that had a stroke at about age 11, and we worked with him for years and years, and it kind of got to the point where he was done with therapy. He really didn't want to do any more therapy, but his parents were really pushing for that to continue, and we just we finally had to be honest with them to say this wasn't something that we felt like he was overly motivated to continue with. We certainly could, but it got to the point where he was pretty clear that he was done with therapy, and so we really tried to encourage and help explore different avenues where he would get therapeutic exercise through engagement in extracurricular activities and sports and ways that he could socialize with his friends, like going to the gym and working out. So that's how we supported him to continue his therapy, but it wasn't us coming to the house and doing exercises and stretches with him. So, so that's adolescent development and occupational performance. Keep up the great work that I'm seeing on the discussion boards. I'm thrilled with what I'm seeing, and I will see you for the next module. We're moving into geriatrics. Okay, take care, everyone.